Hello guys, it's NautoAce. So before I start this video about Sony's extreme censorship, basically the Wall Street Journal basically did an article about it. It's kind of interesting to read, and it is what this new Sony, or to some extent arrogant Sony from the past. I'll explain that later on the video itself. However, the video was recorded before. I gotta give thanks to Yongyea. A lot of people did request him to give his opinion about the Sony censorship, and he did give his opinion about it, and I like what his basic explanation, his thoughts about it. And the thing about it, if you're wondering why he never talked about it before, by watching the video, he suggests that, hey, you know what, whatever. Censorship, fan service is not really my thing, which, yeah, because if you kind of notice, the Sony's, they're mostly targeting anime games, because most of the anime games are probably young anime teenage girls, which are fictional, including Sen Kagura. So he wasn't probably into it, and he basically said that. So he gave his opinion about it, and he basically also said that I wonder what's going to happen in the future, such as Cyber City. I do apologize for the game is by CG Projekt. It's an anticipating game. It's an American game. That's also the keyword there. Anyway, because it has a part of, it's not really so much of fan service, but there is sort of nudity, but it's part of the story. There's an explanation, and I wonder what Sony's going to do about it. If there's a double standard, if there's some sort of xenophobic, that if it's anime, it's more dangerous than American version games or whatever. Who knows? But the bottom line of this disclaimer is that, yes, Yongyea actually gave his opinion about it. Links in the description box. Very good to listen to. It was spot on. Gotta give him props for actually doing it, because it's one of the, I hate to go there, but it's one of the bigger, let's just say, inspiration to the gaming community, what he does. Awesome what he does. A lot of people do respect the guy, including myself. So, Yongyea, thank you for actually giving your time, doing a video about your thoughts on Sony censorship. And I agree with what he said. Very extreme, very dangerous where they're going, and push cut to shove, you cannot lose some stuff. Oh, whatever. You know what? Whatever. Bunch of niche game. Not a lot of people have it. That's what it's called, niche. Hey, you never know, that niche, that could go give you Sony money, but you didn't want it. So they go out to another platform, whether it's Steam, Xbox, or Switch, But like I said, disclaimer is, yes, I did a video before. Yongyea did his video about it. So again, links in the description box on his opinion about it. It's very good. It's very, very good. And on this particular vlog, it's going to be a little bit, controversy, let's just say that to some extent. And that is, if you heard, first of all, there was, thanks to Wired, he interviewed Mark Cerny, and they talk about what is PlayStation 5, and assume that's what it is. I know no one knows what it is, but it has a good specs, and the gist of it is, it goes 8K, has an SSID, loads faster from what I heard. I'm not really a technical guy when it comes to the PlayStation Architect, not that much yet. I have to read on it. And the best part is it's backwards compatible with PS4 games and VR. And the price point, basically, Mark Cerny said that, I hate to say it, this is what Iwata said with the Wii U, it will be quote-unquote reasonable price. So if it's $400, makes sense. If it's $500, a little bit concerning, but that's a different story there. But the other side of the story about Sony, or Sony Interactive Entertainment, is they finally decide to make it refine the censorship policy, or no, they call it the content policy. Yeah, so I got to give credit to the Wall Street Journal on this. They're the one that talk about this article. It is an interesting article. It is very concerning if you're only a Sony console owner, or you're a big supporter of Sony. I'm a big supporter of Sony, which is sad. I like third-party gifts from my Sony so I can build up my trophies. I know, kind of dumb reason, but it is what it is. But of course, if you've been following them since October 2018, they had implemented censorship on Japanese games. That's, mind you, Japanese game that looks so anime-ish, fan service. And the discussion, the talk is, why am I not surprised? The gist of it is, it's the same of what Nintendo did in 2016 during the Wii U. The same reason of censorship of why Nintendo was censoring their games. But the worst part is that Sony is censoring third-party games, especially Japanese, that's very anime-ish, very niche, visual novel, Seren Kagura, the Neptunia game or Idea Factory games, who basically have fan service, but that's it. It's not, I said it before, erotic, it's just fan service, but they're basically trying to enforce that. And the gist of the reason, I'm going to go in depth later on, and that is we're protecting the young, which is it's a freaking cop-out. They need to stop using that because that's just, it's embarrassing and it's stupid. They use the same excuse with cross-play, which in actuality a lot of people did say, and I kind of believe them, is money. Capitalize on why allow play other competition because we still think we're still in 2008 rather than 2019. Other reason that they believe is, okay, so I really never heard about it, I guess, which is a good thing. Apparently there's this controversy, hashtag #MeToo. I'm going to put a link in the description box about it, but it's all about, well, I don't want to go there, but apparently it's about harassment. So, but I mean, there's a story behind that. I don't know. And Sony Interactive Entertainment, they want to get involved with that Me Too movement, which I think that's done or whatever when I'm reading it. But another one is, as expected, because Nintendo did this in 2016 with their image, and yes, I just said the keyword there, is Sony is trying to protect their image, which that doesn't work. What image are you protecting? The reason why a lot of people love PlayStation in the past was the variety of games. You got games for kids, teenager, and adult. And you got different tastes that you can show variety for the gaming consumer. Now you're changing, I guess, different people, different stroke, I don't know. And they're saying we're trying to protect our image because we don't want to get involved or get targeted by, well, I hate to say this, quote unquote, the righteous wannabes. I'm not going to say what the real word is, the parent concern. So that's why they're trying to implement this sort of censorship refinement. And it's also sad, and I'll explain why. So like I said before, one of the reasons is reputation. They're doing what Nintendo was doing in the past. They're trying to either change their image. I don't know why, who's ever doing this. Probably new people. Maybe it is something to do with moving their headquarters to California. It is utterly ridiculous. I don't know what's going on there. And another one basically is the hashtag #MeToo movement. So I really don't know what that is. And like I said before, links in the description box there. So that one I really can't explain about it. Yeah, so I'll just let Wiki do it. So that's all I'm gonna say. I do apologize on that one, but I can't really talk about that one. Because I've never even heard of it until now. Because, well, probably that's a good thing. But I think it's a bit of a controversy there. But again, I don't know anything about it. But the one I want to focus on is the reputation. Yeah, so anytime they say, oh, we're protecting the children, that is the cliche. I said it before, they did that with crossplay. They did that with other things for ridiculous. So, but apparently the sad part is, apparently they've done this before in the past with the PlayStation and the PlayStation 2. And I gotta give credit to Matt Simmons from Yo Video Game, basically calling them arrogant Sony. That's basically in the past. Because they were so popular that people flocked to them because that's where the money is. But to some extent, that their regulation and policy, believe it or not, even Matt said it, kind of hurt the company, including working inside in the past. But I'll let Matt talk about that one. The gist of it is, there was some policy rule about the anti-2D policy rule. They had to do some work around it, but unfortunately, they didn't really pay off. They went out of business. There's more to it. Links in the description box. So the one that bothers me is, first, reputation and image. Nintendo kind of did that in the past in 2016 with their own game. And the reason that they were saying, we're trying to maintain a market of family-friendly, because then they have to rely on the general consumer, because the hardcore didn't really fuck to Nintendo because there wasn't nothing to offer. They move on to the PC, PlayStation 4, or Xbox One. So where do you get that? How do you get profit from people that willing to, at the past, willing to buy your stuff, but not anymore? You find other people. That's why the Wii was an anomaly success, because they went to a different approach. So I don't really believe about this image thing to some extent. Maybe there is something there, but my guess here is, I know a lot of people probably all say the same thing, is chances are also is trying to broaden the market, because they already basically, I guess I'm going to say, full cap on the sales of the PlayStation 4. The hardcore PlayStation 4 flocked to them successfully. You can see why. So now, like, how do we make more sales on the PS4? How do we grow the PlayStation community? I know. Let's get the general consumer into it. So how do we do that? And of course, there's an image problem. Oh, well, problem is, even though we have a variety of games from T, E, M-rated game, there are some games that's only in the PlayStation. That's why people flock to them. They said, well, we can't have this type of game. It might ruin our image. We might not able to convince the general consumer to get PlayStation. What do? Let's tone down and fix the censorship, which is, in my opinion, is kind of bullshit. Alright, this is going to be a follow-up on the Sony censorship controversy interview with the Wall Street Journal. And apparently I got to give props to Spawnwave here. And apparently now is that not only that this is really kind of confusing, apparently there's not even a policy from what I heard, and that the two division, the US and Japan, they're butting heads. I mean, the credit goes to Spawnwave and Dark Titan Enterprises. Anyway, the deal basically is that, yes, Sony of America basically said that they do keep an eye on sexual explicit things. So in anime, when the girl looks young, they're very concerned about it. But the funny thing is, in Japan, they're saying that we don't really have a policy about sexual explicit, or, the nicer word, fan servicey on anime girls, because mostly that's what it is in Japan. Most of the game, the visual novel, the JRPG type thing, I mean, the Neptunia game to some extent, that it's a case-by-case basis. So the problem is like what a lot of the Java developers said, they won't know until they showed it to Sony of America to some extent, US, because they're the headquarters in California, which is whatever. And basically, it's more confusing than it is. So there's no guidelines, there's no rule. It's a case-by-case basis. Japanese developer, to some extent, won't know until it's too late. And yeah, there is sort of a double standard, but that's a cultural clash there to some extent. And the reason why I said that is because in the US fan servicey type thing, they're more like concerned about that than violence, while in Japan it's the reverse. When it comes to fan servicey stuff, they have no problem with it to some extent, but when it comes to violent, they're very, very concerned about it. So it is a culture clash to some extent. I think it's been the past, but there've been always to some extent middle ground that people really like, that's cool. You got this balance, but now it's like, what the hey? So yeah, so like I said, I want to give props to Spawnwave and Dark Titan Enterprise for basically more info about this, and hopefully in the long run, there got to be a fix. This policy thing, I mean, here's what I'm going to basically guess, that if they still have this weird policy in the PlayStation 5, they can actually be a hinder. I mean, they're probably not going to lose the race on the next generation, because if they learn what they learned from PS4, then they should be fine. But there's still like, do you want to optimize cell, or you just want to at least have some more cell? I mean, you tell me, but it is what it is for now. Just have to wait and see. But my problem, their idea of, because of the hashtag #MeToo movement, the reputation is, it also sends an additional message that I don't really agree. And what is that? One, you're saying that we're doing it for the safety of the children, which is, I think, it's a freaking cliche, it's a cop-out, people need to stop that. And of course, like I said, we're protecting our image because we don't want to deal with the righteous people, because, I kind of hate it. This year, I think since 2017, heck, even maybe 2016, people are so sensitive to some extent that people are getting annoying. Mr. Gaming Watch forward smash because he did fire attack. Oh my gosh. I mean, wow. And of course, the latest one is Persona 5, the Royal. the latest character, basically, because when she turns into a Phantom Thieves, she's wearing a gymnastic uniform, and some people make a big deal about it. Oh, you're showing her thighs, legs, skin, whatever. People need to grow up with that thing. It's just annoying. So, and that's what Sony's basically trying to say, that we don't want to deal with that, because I know it's even affecting Japanese developers like Tecmo COVID that are live stream beach volleyball. I did talk about it a long time ago. They didn't want to bring it because they didn't want to deal with that. And apparently Harada said there have been a lot of righteous people want to be trying to harass him. Heck, they even harassed Kamiya. He did Kamiya for Bayonetta. And you know what they just said? Look at my shiny middle finger. Props to them, but it's annoying. So my problem with Sony, why this is really stupid in my opinion, is one, you're sending another additional message that they don't understand. One, what you're telling is, even so, whether the Zero, the ESRB, whatever the rating boards from Australia, New Zealand, Europe, whatever, what Sony computer basically saying is, we don't trust your ratings, so fine, thanks for the ratings because we need that because by law, but we're gonna make our own decision what's good for our consumer or not. So again, you're already giving a middle finger to your consumer, and you're also giving a middle finger to the rating board that was created by the government, the reason why they exist. So say Sony, what's the point of the ESRB? What's the point of Zero? What's the point of those other rating boards from other country? It's nothing. So what, you're trying to be better than John Lieberman and the other guy? They're the one that basically headed the ESRB, the creation. So anyway, it's really, really ridiculous in my opinion there. Like, seriously. Yeah, like I said, that's one of the problem is that they don't trust. It sounds like they don't trust the ESRB. The other problem is they also don't trust their consumer or the parent. There's a reason why they're parents. They make the decision for their kids, for their children, what's right for them. If a parent let his 12-year-old, 13-year-old, whatever, to play an M-rated game, you don't have the right to basically suggest that he shouldn't, or anyone. That's what the ESRB, they suggest that. But if the parents say, I override it, I give consent to my kid, that's none of your business. Don't be a parent. Let the parent be parent. And if you say, well, maybe the kid can become problematic playing a game, I don't even want to go there. Seriously, I don't want to go there. But again, let the parent deal with it. And it's not that the problem also, the parent probably complained to the company, oh, what are you doing this? You know, I thought you should be better. And I don't know. But for me right now, what I'm seeing here, and I can't really see the other side of the penny for this, is you don't trust the ESRB. You don't trust the consumer, what's right for them. You're basically doing what's right for your business because you're too afraid, oh my God, we might get a bad reputation. For crying out loud, you're already getting a bad reputation with this. People are already complaining to some extent. You had a lot of variety game. The reason why a lot of people like Sony to some extent is they offer a lot of variety game from a lot of people, from kids, from teenager, young adult. They're getting from E, T, M, different type of genre, different type of culture. You have your shooter, you got your sport, you got your RPG, Japanese, Western, strategy game, driving game, anime game, etc., etc., etc. And now they're shooting themselves in the foot and said, oh, well, no, we don't like that anime game because that looks so fan servicey. That kid, is that a kid? Oh, no. It's like, I mean, I really hope people know, or society know, what's the difference between fictional and real. But right now, there have been problems with it. I mean, but I think it's ridiculous. That's the reason. It's just ridiculous. And that's the reason why I basically put that hashtag grow up Sony, because they need to grow up. It's when I'm concerned about our reputation, so we're going to do what's best for our customer, basically spewing out some horse crap. That's immature. Nintendo did that in the past in 2016, and they failed. It didn't work. That thing didn't work, and that's why they had to change their way. Now they're allowing M-rated game. Furukawa don't have the problem what they offer on the Switch because they finally decide to believe to the consumer, to the ESRB, to the Zero, to the rating board. Let the rating board do their thing. They know what's best for the consumer. Then let the consumer decide if they want it or not. Not Sony, not Nintendo. And right now, I don't know what's going with Sony. You're arrogant because you're in the top. Switch is even catching up. Nothing to compare to the PS4. And then, of course, Xbox right now is, well, in the bottom. Well, we're going to wait until 2020. Maybe 2020 this fall, next year. Maybe 2021. When the console cycle generation change, all suddenly maybe Xbox is going to be more open than you guys. And then where's that arrogant? What's going to happen to that arrogant Sony? Nothing. Because it was unnecessary, but again, you're being arrogant there and it's just ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, there you go. That's my thoughts about the Wall Street Journal basically giving their thoughts on why Sony Interactive Entertainment doing this censorship. And again, the main reason is they're trying to stay away from the Me Too movement, which I don't know what it is, unfortunately. Or fortunately, it's a good thing or bad thing, I don't know. But they were trying to avoid that. They don't want to be associated with that. Makes sense. But the second one is really, it's just a common expectation, and that is reputation. We don't want to deal with the righteous people, want to be righteous people telling us what's good or not. That's why we're doing this. But the problem with that is, like I said, then you're telling the consumer, you don't trust the consumer, they're stupid. Maybe there's a truth to that, but again, let them be. They're the one that's giving you money, unless you want money, unless you don't want money. And you're also telling that the rating board, including the ESRB, Zero, and those other people, that you don't care. You really don't care. They're not doing their job, so we're gonna do their job. We're gonna do their job and do better, which you're not. I don't know what to say. With that, I'll see you guys later.